I think that we're seeing what everybody else sees, which is that making people's jobs easier is going to be very important. I think that Brian Nickel from Chipotle phrases that very well. He doesn't talk about, he never discusses, using less labor or building a more efficient business model. It's really about supporting the people that work for the company, making their jobs easier and making your company a better place to work. And so we see that everywhere. There's a lot of robotics technology that's being introduced. But at the end of the day, we're in a premium segment of our business, and we make really authentic handmade food. And so maybe more important for us than anybody, making it really easy for somebody to learn how to make our product is important. And so that's what Jeff will tell you a bit about. But we're doing things that are not just focused on the pizza press and the pizza making process, but actually Jeff is spearheading an effort to just make getting food out of our kitchen easier, and having stickers printed for every single item, just using technology and making it easier to operate in the kitchen. So Jeff, I'd love for you just to tell Joanna what you're working on.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's trying to look at every, there's so many steps that go into everything, and trying to look at like one step and seeing how we can improve it or get rid of it. Excuse me. And we've done that with pizza, which was kind of the biggest bottleneck. I can get into the details of the press now, or just kind of give you a general overview, but we kind of started with pizza and looked at all the different ways that we could simplify that. Then we did the same thing with pasta. Now we're kind of finalizing our, kind of expo process. Again, it's like, how can we eliminate or simplify, little steps that make things easier on the whole. Started out a long time ago with the pizza side, and the pizza is like, think of like New York style pizza with these deck ovens, and you have the grizzled veteran. Myself and my brother were the original grizzled veteran pizza makers. And, people would just like not want to get near the station because it was just so difficult to learn. And, just a really tough process, physically demanding, just a hard thing to do. And so we kind of started with, it would drive me crazy because you teach a new person, this is like a kitchen person with experience, and just to teach them how to put the crust on a piece of dough would take like 2 months to get them good at that. And it was so frustrating for me. And that's where kind of the idea of the pizza press was born, because I was like, well, you can kind of, simulate with a press, a hand press, pizzas need to be, delicate. Dough is very delicate, and if you smash it, you're going to crush all the cell structure, and it's just going to be kind of a different product. And so for us, it was always like, the product has to be, absolutely the same or better, more consistent, hopefully, but we can't go down in quality to make it easier. And so we the idea with the press was that you could kind of, get these dimples onto a disc and have it kind of push the dough upwards in the middle. And so when you press it down on a flat piece of dough, it kind of makes the raised edge automatically go out, and it pushes a little bit extra dough in the middle, so that when you finish it by hand, it is a perfect quality pizza. And so that was kind of the patented press. That's where that idea came from. And so that was kind of the first piece of the pizza. So we made that simple. So now we have like kind of like, the front of house, and the delivery drivers are kind of like, oh, I can do that. And they're kind of getting used to that. The next piece, then we moved it over to the stretching process. We were stretching it with dough right away. It's real elastic. It's hard to do. And so, now the way we do it is we have a puck, and it sits on our shelf, and it kind of softens up the dough a little bit. And then the way that we do it, the process is much easier. So again, you're getting these younger people, people with no experience, are just coming up and able to stretch it just right away. No, not a lot of training at all. Then, you know, again, this is all trial and error. This is over, you know, we're in our 18th year. So this is just, you know, keep trying different things. And we came up with a new dust that we use that holds the pizza for up to like 15 minutes stretched, totally ready to go. So it's similar to like a screen at like a pizza chain, and they can just like prepare pizzas on a screen and then they throw it right into the oven. Well, we can do now the same thing with our process.
But on the pizza side too, we did get away from using deck ovens that are stationary deck ovens. We had team members who would wear out their shoulder just working one of those for too many days in a row. And we use a conveyor belt brick oven, which is another key piece of the puzzle. So since we've made those changes, a few things have happened. Number one is the training process has gone from overall you get good at pizza in 6 months. I've gone through that process, and so I know I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed there, but it took me at least 6 months to get good. And now I think people can work in our pizza station after 2-3 weeks, and so and be really efficient at it. And I think that's important, you know, especially with as much turnover as we've seen in the restaurant business over the last year. Being able to onboard people and have them run the pizza station, our busiest station, in a couple of weeks is really critical and is saving us in that way. But that, yeah, the conveyor belt oven and the fact that we've put all those pieces together, not only is the training easier, but our throughput is doubled, which is amazing. So big benefits to making it easier to operate.
Kind of switching to how this kind of affects your staffing and labor, and you went into that a little bit, that it makes training for sure a lot easier. So what is the labor situation with Mici? Have you guys been feeling the labor crunch that the rest of the industry has?
We've seen it just like the rest of the industry has, and we operate in a pretty tight labor market here in Denver, where most of our stores are, and even in Colorado Springs. And so our corporate base being in one of the higher minimum wage states in the country and one of the lowest unemployment states in the country, we see the pinch just like everybody does. I think having a strong culture and good employee retention has been important to us, and that has been a saving grace. But the trend of labor being a difficult commodity to get your hands on, getting new hires being difficult to come by, I think that trend will only continue. And so we're very well aware of that, especially being here in Denver. And so we think all the time about either how to do more with less, you know, with fewer people, or how to make those few valued people's day a lot easier and have them trained a lot faster. So yeah, I mean, there was a time during this last year when we would put out a now hiring ad and see very, very, very few responses. And typically, you know, you get at least a few dozen. But I think that we're starting to see it loosen up a little bit, but it's still a very tight labor market.
Mm-hmm. And have you seen any difference in when introducing these kitchen technologies over the past couple of years in turnover or employee morale?
Yeah, I mean, in the old days, you would have, you know, the pizza maker, the one that could like do that job. They were kind of treated, you know, differently than everybody else because you were beholden to them to show up and, you know, make pizza because so few people could help. And so I think, yes, I mean, we've always, you know, like Elliot mentioned, our culture, it's very important to us. And so just being able to kind of have an even playing field, it's much more, people are cross-trained. Delivery drivers can help make pizza, the pizza makers can help up front, that, you know, just that kind of team atmosphere, simplifying that process. I do think it's really helped our just kind of team feel.
Mm-hmm. It probably evens the playing field then, kind of allows anybody to really be, anybody can operate it then.
Exactly. You don't have like a kind of a special class of, you know, people who you are, you know, please show up today so we can, you know, make pizzas today. So,
mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's been nice.
And how does the pizza press or any of the kitchen technologies help sell franchisees on the brand?
I think it's a very important aspect. And so uh, when we talk about franchising, we're talking about other markets outside of Denver and plenty of markets with lots of pizza competition. And so it's a huge industry. And I think every franchise prospect understands how big pizza in America is and is going to ask the question, why is Mici special and why should I invest in that business and what is different about it than every other player in the country? And I think the key piece of what we are doing that is interesting to people is that you can take all the complexity out of pizza and wind up with a product that is not great and sell a lot of that product and try to compete with the quick service players or the delivery centric players, mostly the big four. And that's a very difficult business to be in if you're competing with those big four. Unless you're one of those big four, you wouldn't want to go up against them. And I think the other half of the pizza market is wildly fragmented. It's a lot of mom and pop operators and single location or a couple location chains. And the question is, why is it fragmented? And why is nobody really succeeding in that space? And the answer is, well, it's a great product that you get from your local pizza chain or your local pizza store, but it's really difficult to make. And unless you have that owner standing next to that oven, making every single pizza and operating the oven, then you're in trouble. And so we've really solved that, and it makes it very scalable to compete in that space, in that more premium part of our industry, of our segment. And you can do it not just with one location, but build a few dozen in your city. And so I think a lot of franchisees are interested in that.
Yeah, I think scaling quality is such an important question. I think a lot of growing chains such as yourselves always ask, because obviously you're known for your great pizzas and you don't want to sacrifice that quality just to be able to expand to new regions.
Yep.
And what we found through just on the quality side, we haven't talked about quality so much, but we've won Denver's Best Pizza as voted by the readers of 5280 magazine, which is our local lifestyle magazine here in Denver. We've won Best Pizza for 10 years in a row. And there's a reason for that. Jeff knows how to make a mean pizza. But the interesting thing on the quality side and the intersection with technology is, at first when we got into this, I think we were thinking, is it worth it to have a reduction of quality if you can simplify the process and do more volume? And the really cool thing about what Jeff invented and what we use at Mici is we found the quality to have increased and the consistency to have increased. And the reason for that is, when we started down this path, with all the new technology, we had 4 restaurants. And so you could walk into a Mici and maybe you'd have a great pizza, and maybe you'd find somebody on a bad day who would make you not a great pizza. And to know that you can walk into every single Mici location and have the exact same high quality pizza every single time is a game changer for us. And so we've seen quality improvement using the new process, not just labor savings or throughput. For us, it really has been a big quality boost.
And is there any other future kitchen technologies that you guys have your eyes on?
A few. I'll start by throwing one or two out there. We've been tracking the robotics behind assembling pizzas, so we think that's very interesting space. But those robotics are wildly expensive and not very good today. And so that's something that's interesting to us. I think Jeff right now is implementing just some simple kitchen technology around using all computerized kitchens with kitchen display and stickers, and taking all the writing out of the equation, so nobody's writing anything by hand anymore, similar to what Starbucks has done. Mm-hmm. And then, long term, I think a lot of you mentioned AI, but a lot of the predictive management, so forecasting, scheduling, prep list writing, ordering. So, all of those functions that a manager has to guesstimate and figure out how much cheese to order for the next day. There's really no reason with the state of technology that shouldn't be all automated at this point using data that comes out of your point of sale. So I think that's in the near term for us. And we're working actually on a back office solution that'll help us with the prep and food ordering and put that into automation. So those are a few of the things we're looking at. Anything else, Jeff, that you've had your eye on?
Just the pickup station, so guests can come in now and your food is, we have delivery bags on a shelf to keep the food warm, and they can just come right in, it's prepaid, and they leave with their food. So that's the other one that came to mind.
Mhm.